You open your budgeting app on the first of the month. Every category is color-coded. Every dollar has a job. You have not missed a single entry in 6 months. And yet, somehow, you're still broke. Not dramatically broke, not can't pay rent broke. Just quietly, persistently broke. The kind where your savings account barely moves, where an unexpected $400 expense still makes your stomach drop, where you did everything the personal finance blogs told you to do, and the number still isn't growing the way it should. So what's actually going on here? You've read the advice. Track every expense. Cut the small stuff, the coffee, the subscriptions, the impulse buys. Follow the 50-30-20 rule. You've done all of it, faithfully, for months. And the number in your savings account still moves in a way that feels almost random, like it has nothing to do with how carefully you planned. Here's the uncomfortable answer. Budgeting perfectly was never the thing standing between you and wealth. Tracking your spending down to the penny fixes a visibility problem. It does almost nothing for a behavior problem. And the behavior problem is one that even economists who study this for a living still fall into. In 1955, a British historian named C. Northcote Parkinson wrote an essay observing something that would later apply almost perfectly to personal finance. He was writing about bureaucracies at the time, but the principle he described, work expands to fill the time available for its completion, has a financial twin. Expenses expand to consume the income available for them. Give a household more money, and within months, without anyone deciding to spend more, they usually are. A slightly nicer apartment, a few more takeout orders, a subscription here, an upgrade there. Nothing reckless, nothing that would show up as a red flag in your budgeting app. Just more. This is why a raise rarely feels like a raise for very long. You get the bump, you feel richer for about 6 weeks, and then your baseline quietly resets. Your budgeting app still balances. Your categories are still color-coded. But the gap between what you earn and what you keep hasn't actually widened. Economist Richard Thaler, who won the Nobel Prize for his work on behavioral economics, has a name for part of what's happening here: mental accounting. It's the tendency to treat money differently depending on which mental bucket it sits in. Even though a dollar is a dollar no matter where it came from, your paycheck feels like spendable money. A tax refund feels like bonus money, safe to blow on something fun. Money sitting in a savings account labeled emergency fund feels psychologically off limits, until it doesn't, and a vacation quietly becomes an emergency. Your budget can be flawless on paper and still lose to the story you're telling yourself about which money is allowed to be spent. But there's a deeper layer underneath the mental accounting. It's loss aversion, a concept from psychologist Daniel Kahneman's prospect theory, the research that eventually won him a Nobel Prize as well. Kahneman found that losing $100 feels roughly twice as painful as gaining $100 feels good. That single asymmetry quietly runs your entire financial life. It's why you'll spend an hour comparison shopping to save $20 on groceries, then let $3,000 sit in a checking account earning almost nothing, because moving it somewhere that could lose value, even temporarily, feels like a risk your brain would rather avoid. Budgeting apps are excellent at showing you where money goes. They are almost useless at correcting for the fact that your brain is wired to protect small, visible losses while ignoring large, invisible ones. So let's walk through what actually happens inside a perfect budget. You earn $5,000 a month. Rent is $1,500. Bills, groceries, transportation, another $100. That leaves $700. On paper, that's the number that should be building wealth. But $100 doesn't feel like a decision. It feels like leftover money. And leftover money, sitting in a checking account with no destination, behaves exactly the way Parkinson's law predicts. It gets absorbed. A slightly better grocery run because you deserve it. A weekend trip because the budget allows for it. None of these decisions look irresponsible in isolation. Your app still shows every category green. But by the end of the month, the once and $700 has quietly become $200, and you have no memory of deciding that. Notice what didn't happen anywhere in that story. You didn't overspend on any single category. You didn't blow past a limit your app would have flagged. Every individual purchase was reasonable, even smart. The leak wasn't in any one decision. It was in the total absence of a decision about where that $700 was supposed to go before your daily life got a vote on it. Here's the counterintuitive twist. The households that actually build wealth are rarely the ones with the most detailed budgets. Thomas Stanley spent years studying America's actual millionaires for his research eventually published as The Millionaire Next Door, and one pattern showed up again and again. Most of them didn't track spending obsessively. They automated it. They built systems where the saving and investing happened before the money ever became leftover in the first place. The moment money hits their account, a fixed percentage moves out into a retirement account, an index fund, a separate account they've made deliberately inconvenient to touch. What's left is what they're allowed to spend freely, no tracking required, because the wealth-building decision was already made once, automatically, instead of being redecided every single day against a brain that's fighting Parkinson's law and loss aversion at the same time. This isn't just a habit rich people happen to have. It's a mechanism economists have deliberately engineered into retirement systems because the research behind it is that strong. Richard Thaler, along with economist Shlomo Benartzi, designed a program called Save More Tomorrow, which asked workers to commit today to saving a larger slice of their future raises, money they hadn't received yet, and therefore hadn't attached any spending plans to. Savings rates among participants roughly tripled over a few years. Nobody became more disciplined. Nobody started budgeting harder. The only thing that changed was the timing of the decision, made once in advance, instead of daily, in the moment, against a brain built to lose that fight. That's the mirror worth holding up to your own budget. A budget answers the question, where did my money go? After the fact. An automated system answers a completely different question before the fact. How much of this month's income is not available to be spent at all? One is a receipt. The other is a decision made exactly once that your future self doesn't have to relitigate every time a discretionary dollar shows up looking like it belongs to you. Think about what that actually means for the $107 sitting in your account right now. Under the tracking model, all 100s is technically yours to allocate, and your brain, running on mental accounting, loss aversion, and a built-in tendency to let expenses expand, will find a way to spend most of it without ever feeling like it broke a single budget rule. Under the automated model, $600 of that never enters your checking account long enough to be reclassified as spendable. It's gone before Parkinson's law gets a vote. What's left, $100, is genuinely yours to enjoy without guilt, because the wealth-building part of the equation already happened. Run that difference forward. $600 a month, invested rather than absorbed, at a modest average market return, turns into real money over a decade, not because you found some secret high-return investment, but because the money simply never got the chance to disappear into a slightly nicer grocery run. That's the entire mechanism, not a better spreadsheet, a shorter window of opportunity for your own psychology to intervene. This isn't an argument against budgeting. Knowing where your money goes still matters, especially early on, when you're figuring out what your fixed costs even are. But budgeting was never designed to fight your own psychology, it was designed to inform it. The two things people assume are the same tool are actually solving two different problems. One shows you the past, the other controls the future. And only one of them is what separates people who feel financially responsible from people who are actually getting wealthier. So the next time your budgeting app tells you every category is green, ask yourself a different question. Did I stay within my limits this month? But how much of my income never had the chance to become a limit in the first place? You open your budgeting app on the first of the month, Every category is still color-coded. Every dollar still has a job. But this time, the most important dollars never showed up in a spendable column at all, because this decision that actually builds wealth was made once, automatically, long before you ever opened the app.